Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.
What's up, SML? Welcome back to Heat Check. I'm here with my trusty co-host, the Mad Bomber, after an emotional game last night. How are you doing, bud? How you feeling?
Oh, very emotional. But it was lit and it was fire, so.
It was lit and it was fire. It was a great game. You had your standard Vikings 17-point lead at some point, somewhere. It always seems to happen in my important games. It was a good time. Went back, watched your commentary. I think we might have been under the come on number.
It was close. It was definitely close. The first half kept them to a minimum. It was the second half where I started to make up ground on my come-ons.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, point spread wasn't the only thing that was catching up to the betting lines.
Yep.
We got a good show on tap today. Should be, pretty standard. We're going to have our normal recap. We're going to talk about our standings for our pick'ems. We've got our first edition of the power rankings of season 5, and then we're capping things off with a burning thoughts topic. So let's jump right into it. Let's hit the recaps.
All right, then let's go to the recaps. So we'll start with week 3 because that's where we started with our picks. And week 3, the first game up was the Bengals Cowboys, and this is where he's starting to look like he could win that AFC North. He lost to Grams, but only by 7. He's been putting up good games, and this was just another one where he was just not able to get over that hump. But we'll keep an eye on two-step because the AFC North is looking a little weak right now.
I might have been a few seasons early.
That's what it was. You were just early.
Still holding hope. Yeah.
You were ahead of the curve on Burrow. But the next game was the Ravens and the Browns. Ravens win 23-19. This is the first of 2 games we'll recap where the Ravens beat the Browns. Then we had the Chiefs and the Steelers, and KJ put it on Raider. I don't know if Raiders tanking again, or maybe Raiders just bad. I looked at his overall lifetime record in the SML, and it's only slightly better than KJ. It's still under 200 winning percentage. So Raider probably just sucks. I mean, he's got KC and he's losing to KJ. So
it's not a good look.
Yeah, I'm thinking he just sucks. Then we had Paulie beat the Cardinals and Meats 24-17. Close game, but Meats in the middle of the slide there. He's still trying to find his way this season. We had the Bears beat up on the Texans 27-6. Figs was all pumped up after this. Had a nice win against the Texans. Then you had the Colts come out, and in the game of the century up till now, the Colts played the Lions 35-13. He beat Hova. But he hypes it as like a big game.
Oh, there's been a couple game of the centuries involving the Lions in the NFC North.
So. Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to one of those here in a little bit. But the Eagles and Clink again continues to just, I don't know what's going on there, but he beats Rowan 31-19. Doesn't look very good most weeks, but beats a team that's got a winning record and chasing a playoff spot. So
scores a lot of goals on Chell, so we'll stick with that.
Yeah, he's good at NHL. Tampa Bay Field comes out and he beats Lawyer. This one looks like it may have been a sim though, because it was 0 times played. I'm pretty sure they simmed that one, if I remember right. Green Bay, Mike somehow beat the Vikings, 36-31.
Don't worry about it. Move on.
All right, we'll move on from there. 24-7, Jacksonville over the Titans. So I'm sure Coop will probably win the next one. Dan got by the Chargers 17-6. Not much scoring in that game. Dan's looking like he's struggling a little bit with the quarterback. He may be just trying to force it so much because he's trying to dev the guy. But he didn't do much that game, 17-6. Colt comes out. He beat Dan earlier. Now he beats Future 27-16. But then as we see, Colt goes back to being Colt. It doesn't look so good the rest of the weeks. Seattle loses to Buffalo. Sonol gets a win over Tiny. Tiny in his 4th-ranked passing offense. Couldn't get it done against Buffalo.
Top 5, baby. Top 5.
Yeah. One of the bigger games of this week was Washington and Carolina. At the time, they were both undefeated. And QP comes out and he wins at 38-24, and he's starting to look like the favorite in the NFC, I would say. He's had a couple decent games, but he's still got a few left as well. 49ers over the Rams, so the early lead in the NFC West would go to Dump here with a 38-28 win over RD. And then the Jets lose to the Patriots 20-13. That rounds out week 3. Week 4, we'll start at the top. And QP 42-3 over Woods. And Woods is really struggling lately. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if you've seen anything going on with Woods, but I don't know why he suddenly can't really win a game.
Yeah, he just definitely seems to be in his own head. You can see it in games. You can kind of watch and you'll see the point where it just, I mean, in this one, it was from the get-go. But, you'll see him in some games where it just, you can see the switch flip where he starts getting down on himself and he stops playing smart. And, that's a tough way to overcome and win games.
Yeah, I think he's definitely in his head at this point.
Yeah.
He needs to kind of snap out of that if he's going to find a way to get back in the win column. Then the Giants beat the Ravens 24-20. So Rowan beating up on that AFC North. Jaguars over the Texans 42-21. Raiders over Lawyer and the Falcons 35-24. Saints, and this is what we're talking about. He beats Dan, he beats Lawyer, and then Figs comes out and thumps him by 10, 31-21. Bears over the Saints. And another game of the century with the Lions. Lions 34, Mike and the Packers 24. He beats them by 10. He actually had him beat by quite a bit, and then just Mike came thundering back at the end and fell short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that game was definitely the tale of two halves.
Yeah.
The first half was all Hova, and the second half was all Mike. Unfortunately, Mike dug himself too big of a hole to start to come back.
Yeah, he just ran out of time.
Yep.
Then we had the Patriots 31-10 over the Titans. The Chiefs once again lose, but this time he keeps it close against DW, 31-26. I believe this is also a sim score, though, because I think DW was up quite a bit, and then it disconnected. Then we had the Rams. Yeah, so some of these scores may not be accurate. The Rams 44-7 over Knoll. That is accurate. That's not good for Knoll. I know he came into this season talking about how good he was going to be, and it looks like more of the same for Knoll.
Yeah, it hasn't quite worked out.
And two-step 28-10 over the Jets. It starts to get things moving in the right direction. As both of the AFC North teams pick up a loss. Two-step gains a little ground here with a win. Paulie and the Dolphins take on the 49ers 37-31. He beats Dump. So he beat RD, he beat Dump, and he beat Meats all in the beginning of the season. So the NFC West.
Huge to get those NFC West games out of the way and come away with 3 wins so far. Yeah. Obviously, Tiny's left, who could spoil the sweep here, but you can't ask for a better start. That's for sure.
Oh, definitely. Speaking of good starts, the Colts beat up on Denver 24-17. Dan was able to keep it close. His rookie quarterback in this one really hurt him. There was quite a few bad throws, interceptions. I think he had like 5 interceptions. It was bad. The quarterback hurt him. It might even been 6.
It looks like 14 for 28, 194 yards, 1 score, 5 picks.
Yeah, 5 picks.
That's a bad spot.
Yeah, I think he had 6 turnovers. I think there was a fumble in there. So,
yikes.
Not the greatest game there for Dan, but as he goes on,
Prime
that
quarterback
quarterback's
scoring 24. Interesting.
Yeah, but as he goes on, that quarterback's going to get better. So,
it's
good to get the games with Dan out of the way now. Yep. Then you beat the Seahawks 24-10. And the Cowboys beat the Eagles 23-19. And that was it for week 4. Moving on to week 5. First game was the Colts-Titans. That was a prime win, 38-10. Seahawks lose to the Packers 31-21. So, Mike lost to Hova, but he's still able to beat the winless Seahawks. Had they a guy like DK Metcalf, they might be better. Not going to let that go. Rams.
Maybe he'll learn his lesson for next cycle.
That's right.
Maybe.
I doubt it.
Maybe.
Rams 35, Jets 12. So Latin continues to struggle. Baltimore played against the Steelers 42-14. He beat up on KJ. Kind of looks like early on so far it's going to be the Ravens taking the AFC North. They're the only team that, Cincinnati looks okay, but the Ravens are really the only team that looks competent in that division right now.
he currently has the most explosive offense for
Yeah.
sure. It doesn't hit every week, but if you have to pick, one game, give me an AFC North that's gonna score enough points to win a game, I'm picking the Ravens right now.
Cardinals over the Lions, 23-20. So Meats gets a win, but he doesn't get it by much against the Lions.
Interesting at the end of the game there too, if I remember correctly. I believe Hova punting on 4th down.
Yeah.
I believe it was. Not going for it when he, could have put himself in a position to either take the lead at the end or tie. I don't remember exactly what the scenario was.
Yeah, it was some lack of aggressiveness at the end cost him.
Yeah, the score was close, and I think the game was even closer than the score.
All right, then Jacksonville 34-14 over the Bears. Patriots 16-10 over Buffalo. So Matt stays undefeated, but he's just not blowing them out. He's squeaking by these teams that he should be beating. So, and I've actually got him in week 9, I think. So we'll see how that goes.
Yep.
Browns over the Raiders 28-13. So he keeps pace with the Ravens there. Vikings 24-16 over the Texans. Falcons 21-16 over the Chiefs. Washington, and this is Graham's first time playing a team with a winning record, and he gets beat 24-10. So I'm not really ready to say Graham's is back yet. We'll see how the rest of his schedule goes because he does have some tougher teams. But as soon as he played a good team, 24-10.
Yep.
Then we had Dan bounces back against Field with a 38-17 win over the Buccaneers. Rowan 24-17 over Carolina, who was kind of everybody's early season favorite after picking up Russell Wilson. He made his NFC Championship run, beat the computer to get there, and then adds Russell Wilson to that team. And I think everybody kind of was jumping on that bandwagon, but Rowan comes in 24-17, beats him.
Big win for the club.
And then two-step, taking a step back here against the Eagles, 35-17. So
hey, man, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's right. In the name for you.
That it is. All right, so week 6 is what we get up to next. And Atlanta takes on the Saints and beats them 31-17. So Colt, beats the 2 best teams in the AFC West and then falls to 2 of the lesser teams in the NFC, we'll say. Then we had Vikings 56-14 over Figs. That one was a blowout. Browns trying to make some noise. He beats Rowan 31-24. 49ers 56-31 over the Bills. Noel continues to slide. Colts 21, Jacksonville 7. We'll just skip over that.
Yeah, don't worry about that one.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Baltimore 56 points against the Eagles. Gave up 35, but he had 56. Big offensive output there.
That was even after a disconnect too, where he scored like 30 points before the disconnect. So he scored like 90 points on Clink that night. It was a little tough to watch.
Yeah, when he gets the offense going, Baltimore can be scary.
Yep, they were moving.
Coop 31-17 over the Lions. Dallas 31-21 over Seattle. Dan, and then this is Carolina's second loss in a row. Dan 38-10 over the Panthers. So Panthers kind of sliding after everybody had them on tie.
And, it's not the easiest start to a schedule, especially with Rowan playing good football right now.
Yeah.
But still, he started out 2-0. 2 quick wins. One of them, real good win over me, and then start sliding right after that. So we got to see how he rebounds and how he adjusts.
Yep. Then we had the Steelers, and he got beat by DW and the Chargers, 31-13. Raiders get blown out by Future, 42-7. I'm sure there was a little bit. I'm sure Future kind of felt good about this one and maybe took it a little personal.
Definitely a little bad blood.
Yeah. So good to see Future get that 42-7 win over.
I don't blame him.
And then the Rams 35-10 over Meats. This game normally would have been probably worthy of like somebody commentating it or something, but the way Meats is playing right now, 35-10 is probably as good as he could have hoped for there.
Yeah, that's another guy in his own head.
The Patriots and the Dolphins, both of them came into this game undefeated. Questions about who the Patriots had played up to this point, and Paulie obviously had played the NFC West, and Paulie walked away with this one 28-10. So we'll see how Matt bounces back, but definitely have to wonder about the schedule he's played up till now.
Yeah.
And lucky for him, I think he gets to bounce back against me. So we'll see how that goes. I'm on a 2-game slide right now.
Yep, an angry bomber coming off a bye.
Yeah, I hate
That's
buys.
not what you're trying to bounce back with.
No, but I hate buys, but this one works out just because of my work schedule. The next 2 days is going to be
That's helpful.
overwhelming to say the least. Packers 35-24 over the Buccaneers. So Field falls again. Field kind of struggling since coming back.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 7. So this is the week we're in now. Should be advancing tonight-ish. I think the Packers Bears is set for sometime right before 9. So this will go right up to advance.
Yeah. Yep.
So this one, Ravens Browns, and just I feel bad for Woods after this one. He had it. It was it 21-17, throws a ball into the end zone, pass interference. So he's got the ball, 1st and goal at the 1. He's down 4 points. So what does he do?
Oh, no.
Pick
Oh,
6. No. Pick 6. Baltimore wins
Woods,
28-17.
Woods, baby, Woods.
I mean,
What
you
are you
got
doing to
Nick
me?
Chubb. You've got a rookie there. You've got Kareem Hunt. You are Pete Carroll.
Oh, man.
Like, the only thing you didn't have was Marshawn Lynch.
Fullback dive.
Yep. So it cost him. Throws a pick 6, loses the game, and now he's lost the season series to the Ravens. So he's got to win the standings in order to win that division, which I don't think is going to happen now. Noel squeaks by Raider fan and the Chiefs 27-24. So he does get a win, but it was tough. Raider fan loves throwing the streaks. I watched a little bit of that game, and it was nothing but bombs to Hill and Hardman.
People fall in love with that speed, man.
They do, and clearly it's not working. I mean,
yeah, it might be time to throw in a slant or a drag.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, even ZZ was winning 6-7 games with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So to be one win in the last 2 seasons or 2 wins in 2 seasons, that's bad, like really bad.
Raider, if you want to just nullify the temptation completely, my office is open. Just send him over. It's all good. We'll take him off your hands. Make it easier for you.
I think he's tanking because even at less than a 200 win percentage, you should be winning more than 1 game a season.
I got a 1st-round pick. You can tank all you want, big guy.
Yeah. So then you had the Giants lose to Washington 23-16. I think I saw Rowan said that he had the ball on the 1-yard line, and time expired or he got stopped. I didn't see how it ended.
I think it was time expired, but that technically also counts as being stopped. So.
Yeah, that's a trend for week 7. And we had the Texans. So October gets his win against Tova, 21-16. So would have been a good game to watch. Missed that one. Bengals 23-14 over Coop. So 2-step coming alive. Might actually have overtaken the Browns in the standings here, or at least tied up. Then we had the Packers Bears. That'll be coming at around 9 tonight. Panthers Eagles, I assume, is this afternoon sometime. That's usually when Clink seems to play.
Yeah.
Then we had Dallas and Grams. He beat KJ 31-10. Again, it's KJ, so I'm not ready to say I'm back on Grams. Although KJ has been looking better this season with that running back. And I noticed his quarterback is now only 5th in most interceptions thrown, so he's improving.
Progress.
Dan continues to look pretty good, 35-10 over Lawyer. Future just this morning or early this afternoon beat DW 17-7. Paulie won 19-7 over Latin. Our game happened. Cardinals 49ers. That one is, I think, 6 tonight. We'll see if anyone watches. I know Dump keeps saying the best rivalry in the SML, but that was week 6 when I played Prime. Nobody even watches Cardinals 49ers anymore.
Hey.
And then Saints Buccaneers. I watched this one, and this just looked bad. Colt was able to move the ball pretty much at will on Field. And Field, with that offense that Dookie built, only able to put up 6 points. So not looking good in Tampa. The problem is, he's got 2 really good running backs in Fournette and Ronald Jones, and he can't run the ball. So you're going to have to
that's tough.
Do something with that because Dookie definitely liked to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to do it for our recap. So what we've got now is we can check out what we've done to this point. And right now, as it stands, after weeks 3, 4, and 5 picking games, you're leading 9-5 to 7-7. So where we split last week, you got most of those. But we'll see if that changes this week. Week 7, I had a bunch of games on here, but a bunch of people have already played their games, so that kind of narrows my chances to come back. But our first game is going to be the Dump meets SML rivalry. Arizona, San Francisco. Who do you have in this game?
I got to go San Francisco. Meats is I don't know what it is, but Meats is just seems to be down. He doesn't seem to be into it. Dump obviously, has a lot to play for. He keeps hyping up his Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is not the reason he's winning. So maybe me saying that, he's going to come out and try and throw and give Meats a chance here. But if he just pounds the rock, I think he's gonna take this one pretty easily.
Yeah, I want to pick Dump because I think he's going to win. But I am 2 games down, and I don't see too many where we're going to split. I'm going to take the Cardinals, and here's why. Let me make this window a little bigger because it's all screwed up. Okay. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the Dump is going to try to throw with Hurts quite a bit. And I think the one place where Meats might have the advantage is on his secondary. I haven't noticed too much of Simmons, Baker, and Reddick in the league leaders for interceptions like they were early in the cycle. Early on, what do you have, like 20-something interceptions in one season with Simmons? Putting up
I think the league has kind of figured out, that Cardinals team, it's the speed. You have to account for the speed.
Yeah.
And if you do that, you're going to be able to move the ball on them.
Yeah, but I think Dump is going to try and force the pass because he's obviously trying to develop Hurts. And
he sure is.
If I'm going to pick against Dump, that's what it's going to be. His downfall, I think, is he forces the pass and Meats gets too many interceptions. Maybe we see a resurgence of Simmons, and I'll take Arizona in this game. So then we had
come on, Dump, I need you.
Oh, and this one too. Actually, yeah. So we've only have one game for week 7. I forgot New York and Washington also played. So one game for week 7. That was it. Yeah, I will take Washington as well. Double or nothing. It ends on the last drive.
Yeah.
Which I guess every game ends on the last drive.
On the one. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So we'll move to week 8. Week 8, you've got Woods playing 2-step. Woods kind of struggling. 2-step, basically playing the way 2-step has been playing. Although I haven't noticed Burrow on that league leaders for interceptions. So he is playing a little more careful with the ball. Not necessarily that much more careful, just not top 5 interceptions. But who do you have in this game?
I'm always tempted to take Cincy. Woods has done just enough to squeak out some close games. I think he pulls this one off. I don't know why. It's more just a gut feeling. It also might be me feeling bad that I've already Faz cursed 2-step once, and I don't want to do it again. So I'm gonna roll with Woods.
Okay. I'm also gonna go with Woods. I think he's gonna turn it around here in his next game or so. He may be working on some new things that I think are gonna help him out, and I think 2-step is a good opponent to try new things with, we'll say.
That sounds like some PMs have been shared.
There may have been 1 or 2, but I think he's going to do better here, and I think Woods is going to come away with this one. Then we have RD playing Meats in week 8, and I'll pick first on this one just so it looks like you copy me when I go with RD. I think just looking at how the two teams are playing, RD clearly playing better than Meats right now. Akers is just killing it at over 9 yards per carry. And Meats seems to have trouble on defense right now. So I'm going to go with RD.
Yeah, I will be copying you and going with RD as well.
All right. Then we have Future and Carolina. A little AFC versus NFC matchup here. I think Carolina, I don't know what to think about him. Early in the season, he was probably my pick to go to the Super Bowl, adding Russell Wilson to that team. But he just doesn't look good. Losses to Rowan, losses to Dan. But I don't know if I can pick him to win or to lose again. Future's been kind of shaky, but I'm going to go with Future. He's going to get his running back after a one-game suspension, and I think he's going to make up for lost time against Carolina.
Yeah, they're very similar teams. I think they play a similar style, similar game. I am also gonna go with Future. I was tempted to go NFC just because NFC better than AFC type thing, but that's okay. I'll veer from that path for a minute here. I'm gonna stick with Future. I think he's a little more sound right now. Getting that running back is going to be huge for him.
Yeah. So we both picked Future there. We both took RD and we both took the Browns. So week 8, I'm not making up any ground. So how about week 9, San Francisco, Arizona again. And it's again Dump against Meats. Meats has a terrible schedule for like the next 4 weeks. It's Dump, RD, Dump, RD. Not the best schedule if you're trying to get out of a rut. It may just prolong that rut. But who do you have in this one for week 9?
EA put a lot of work into that one.
Yeah.
Props for them. That's great scheduling. Simulation, baby. I feel like this game really comes down to how their first game is going to come down. I feel like if Dump beats him, it's just going to kick Meats down a little more. And I feel like he'll have even less of a shot in the second round. If Meats does win the first game, it could be a whole different scenario. I picked Dump in the first game. So by that logic, I'm going to pick him in the second one as well.
All right. Well, then by that logic, I'm going to take Arizona in the second game. I think it's likely that they split. Because I think what's going to happen is Meats is going to pick off Hurts a bunch in that first game. And then when the second game comes around, Dump's not going to want to lose. And he's just going to go ahead and run Edens right down his throat to the tune of like 350 yards.
On like 10 carries.
Yeah, so in order to make sure I get one of those games, I'm going to go ahead and take Meats in both. And probably should just take Dump in both, but that wouldn't get me a game back on you. So I'm going with Meats. And maybe I get lucky and he gets his confidence back.
Playing the long
That's
game.
right. So I tried to add a couple games here that aren't necessarily premier games that anybody's going to be really talking about, but could be good games nonetheless. And one of those games is KC against Houston. Two teams that are kind of struggling. One of the teams I'm pretty sure doesn't want to win, and the other one maybe doesn't care if they win. So who do you have in KC versus Houston?
Man, you could flip a coin on this. Actually, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip a phone. Heads is going to be Texans, and tails is going to be Raider.
All right. Well, while you're flipping, I'm going to go ahead and take Houston before you have a chance to tell me what you're taking.
I got Raider.
All right. So you're going to take Raider. Basically just on a coin flip. I'm going to take October because, like I said, I think there's one team that doesn't care about winning and one team that doesn't want to win. And I think Raiders the one that doesn't want to win. So I think October's going to come
seems
out.
to check out.
So I'm going to take Houston. So that might be a good spot for me to make up a game. The next game is going to be Indianapolis and Chicago. Now, I put this game on there. Initially it looks like it's going to be the Colts in a blowout. But Figs is 1-0 against the Colts. It came season 1 when Figs was just playing out of his mind and made the NFC playoffs, won a playoff game. And I think he won more games in season 1 than he's won the next 3 seasons combined. So
I think he has as well.
It's probably close. But we'll put this game on here, and what should we put the point spread at? We'll put a spread on this one.
Put a
heat check
spread.
first.
Let's go. Colts favored 10.5.
All right, so we'll go Bears plus 10.5. Got it. In that case, I will take the Colts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So your spread probably isn't very good. Let's adjust that spread.
Okay. Let's go
Colts plus 19.5. I'm taking the Colts.
It's getting closer. I'm still taking the Colts.
All right.
NFC better than AFC. Still taking the Colts.
Yeah, I'm not going to go any higher because I think that's a pretty good spread.
Yeah, it's a solid
but even
spread.
with that spread, I'm confident taking the Colts. Next up is Carolina against Dallas. This would be Graham's, I think, second winning opponent. Who do you have in this game?
I'm going Grams. You're giving him a lot of bulletin board material here. I can see Grams getting a little spiteful of that, coming out, knocking the doors off of his first opponent with a winning record here.
Okay.
I also really like Grams' defense right now. They are fast.
His defense is playing really well, and I'm going to take Carolina because I don't care. I just don't think
Bulletin
Grams
board,
is
baby.
back until I see him beat some winning teams. Then I don't think he's back. It's not hard to get sacks against KJ and Tiny, and Tiny's not even. He doesn't even have Russell Wilson anymore. He's playing with like Derek Carr. Now Graham's defense does look a lot better. He added that middle linebacker that's really fast, and he's using him now.
Yep.
But I just don't think he's back yet. And I still have just a little bit of faith in Demuse over there in Carolina that he's still going to make some noise in the playoffs. And I don't think Grams is on the same level right now. Speaking of the NFC East, though, our next game should be a good one if their one in Week 7 was any indication. But Washington against the Giants. QP against Rowan. Who do you want in this one?
Always tough to pick between my Thanos Club members. Rowan's going to get over the QP hump eventually. I'm not sure it's going to be this season. I'm going to stick with Q on this one.
All right, so we're going to go with Washington. And I am also going to go with Washington on this one. I don't think the teams are as close as that game was. I think QP is playing really well right now. He added a middle linebacker as well in the draft. And then he's getting more comfortable with Aaron Jones. And then, of course, he's got Terry McLaurin, too, and another year of development for Adkins. So I've got Washington winning that game as well.
Yeah, that roster is really coming along. They're scary.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't get too far along before the cycle's over, and we don't have to deal with what they could end up being. The last two games,
terrifying, especially as a team or as a guy who got an older team to start. It hurts to watch players like that getting better while all mine are dying slowly.
All right, so then we have Tiny, and I think he'll be looking for his first win playing Colts and the Saints. Who do you have in this one? This is a tough one.
This is a tough one. If there's a guy to get your first win against, it's definitely Colt. But then Colt can also come out and score 40 randomly. I'm gonna give you a shot to make up a game. I'm going underdog. Give me Tiny.
All right, and I would say he probably is the underdog. As a matter of fact, I think at one point I had him in my top 7. It was like our last list because he was like 6 wins in the NFC West, and I thought, damn, Tiny's doing good, and maybe he could make the playoffs in another division. I do not think he's won since then, and I don't think it's going to happen in Week 9 either, so I'm going to go with Colt and the Saints. And then our final game, Coop and the Titans taking on Mike and the Packers, and Coop will be without Gardner Minshew. I believe he lost him for the season.
Mm-hmm.
So
was it really for the season? That's a shame.
For the season, who cares? It's Gardner Minshew. I'm gonna take.
One day I would have argued with you, but that day is no longer here.
I'm gonna take Mike and the Packers. Just his offense plays well enough that I think he should be able to win. He had that hiccup against Hova in the first half, but we saw what his offense could do when he started to play well.
Yeah.
He was able to come back. And he'll probably be coming off a loss to the – oh, no, I don't play him till Week 17, but I'm sure he'll lose in Week 8 if he's playing.
Ouch.
Otherwise, that game would have been on our list. It's probably not a very good matchup for him. Tennessee, on the other hand, he's got a really good defense, but his offense without Minshew might struggle a little. I think I saw his last game, he had -4 passing yards total.
Oh.
So that could be a problem. So I'm going to go with Mike.
That's definitely a problem. I'll be going with Mike as well. Got to stick with my NFC North boy.
All right. And I will lock that in, and we have now saved it. And we'll see how that goes on our next show. So with that, that's going to take us to our predictions, or our not predictions, but our rankings. And I'm thinking this time maybe we start at the bottom and work our way up. So I will start with my number 7 NFC team, and I have Cowboys with Grams. Regardless of who he's played thus far, he's still winning I think he's got 6 wins. So I'm still gonna have him in the top 7, and that's my pick right now. Very easily could move up because he does have some tougher games going forward.
Yeah, for sure. So my number 7 in the AFC, I have NYT in the Ravens. As we've said, it looks like he's going to probably lock up that AFC North. I think he has the best offense in the North, which isn't going to help him through much else of the AFC. But I think it does get him at least into a playoff spot, and he can lock up that 7 spot in the conference.
All right. Week number 6 in the NFC, I have Rowan. I know he's a game behind Grams in the standings, but I think his body of work is a little bit better, and I just have a little more faith in Rowan than I do Grams right now. But they could very easily flip flop. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
But so I have Rowan number 6, Grams 7.
Yep, can't really do too much arguing with that. 6 in the AFC, I have the Chargers in DW. He's a little inconsistent, but he has shown that he has the talent and the ability to beat top guys. He always plays Dan very tight. The roster is very good, defense is very good. So he's one of those guys that you can't really forget about him because he can pretty much knock anybody off. It's just a matter of if he's going to play consistently enough to do it.
Yeah, it's funny. DW is a perfect example to me of how matchups matter in the SML. How there's just teams that you can play really well against, and then teams that you can't. I played him. I've only played him once, so it's not a huge body of work, but I blew him out. I think I ended up with the player of the week that week, and I thought it was one of the easier games I'd played in the SML. But then I watched, and every time he plays Dan, he gives them trouble. He beats Future. He gives Prime trouble sometimes. And then he's on here 6. He was a playoff team last year, but he's one of the teams that I had no issues with. But then I'll play teams like Woods. Before the last 2 matchups, I'd play Woods and just couldn't touch him. And then you got teams out here beating him, or Dan, for example. I can't seem to get by Dan, and Colt goes out and beats him. Prime blows him out a couple times. So it's kind of weird to me how some of these matchups can kind of play out. But that'll bring us. Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just agreeing with you.
All right. So number 5 in the NFC, I have Demuse and the Panthers. He's dropped a couple games, but I still have a little bit of faith in the Panthers that he's going to get it turned around. The NFC South doesn't look like anything to worry about. So I'd say he's almost a lock to win that and make the playoffs. But he has looked a little shaky so far, so I have him at the number 5 spot.
Yeah, 5 in the AFC. I have Future and the Raiders. Honestly, pretty interchangeable with DW and the Chargers. I just have Raiders a spot above because I think the offense is just a little more explosive, a little more consistent.
Yeah, Ginn is a problem if he gets going.
He sure is. Boy, I played him last season, and I mean the guy was near untackleable.
Yep, and he's only improved since then.
Yeah.
So number 4 in the NFC, I've got the 49ers and Dump, and I'll preview it a little bit here, but number 3 is going to be RD. I think these 2 teams could be pretty much interchangeable right now, but with RD having the Super Bowl win last season and the NFC West title last season, I'm going to give him the nod until they play a couple more head-to-head games.
Yeah, so number 4 for me, maybe a bit of a surprise. I have Dan and the Broncos. Obviously, we've talked about the roster turnover, the Von Miller replacement. I think to start the season, it's slowed him down a little bit. He's got to work on Devin the quarterback. He's forcing more passes than usual. The loss to Prime with 5 interceptions, not great. I don't think it's something that lasts all season. I certainly don't think he ends the season at 4, but for now, definitely have him lower than his usual spot.
Yeah, and I'm struggling to figure out what I think is a bigger impact on his team, whether it's missing Leverett at quarterback or Von Miller. And I'm leaning towards Von Miller because I think
Von.
that was definitely a big part of his defense. But watching just the Colts game, I mean, he held Prime still to 24, but he just kept sailing passes, off-target passes, and those passes weren't just to like empty field; they were to Colts defenders turning into interceptions and turnovers. So like that game, I don't think it was the defense that cost him the game. It was definitely the quarterback position. But
yeah, I think that's definitely true. I think if you look back to when he had Vaughn, though, like Vaughn could, like the defense could win him games. You know, he
oh,
had the
absolutely.
same troubles with, Leverett or Leverett, however you said his name. While he was developing, he was only superstar, just after last season, I
Yep.
think, or just last season. But the fact that he doesn't have Vaughn to change games now is the big one. So now the defense is still good, still hard to score on. It's absolutely a very formidable unit. But that game against Prime, I feel he still could have won despite the quarterback issues if he had Vaughn.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how much he misses the guys that he traded to. What was the guy's name? St. Louis, I think that he traded to Grams, who's
Yep, he's
doing
dominating.
just fine in there in Dallas, and I believe he even just got a dev game and moved
Yep.
up to star. So the off season I don't think was kind to Dan. I know he said, oh, he's happy he got that quarterback he did, and maybe eventually he will be.
He'll always say he's happy.
Yeah,
That's the
he's not
Dan
going to
thing.
admit that he screwed up,
Never.
because I think he did. I definitely think that he could have. I don't know. The third pick missing on that defensive lineman, I think, really hurt.
That's a tough one to whiff on for sure.
I mean, because you could look at the free agent market right now, and he could have picked up Derek Carr. He could have picked up any of these guys that were out there. Hell, he probably had the cap space to get Russell Wilson. And I think he's going to be hurting this season from that. But so my number 3 seed in the NFC is going to be, I already brought it up, but Rams and RD. I think him and Dump are kind of interchangeable. And as it goes forward, we'll see how this shakes out. But right now, because of the Super Bowl win and how close they are, I've got Rams at number 3.
For my number 3, I've got Prime, the Colts. This is an interesting one because I feel like, and we're going to touch on this with our next team, the body of work should probably be higher than 3. But Prime doesn't seem to believe in himself. We keep hearing, "Oh, I'm washed. I'm Wizards Jordan." Can't figure out the reasoning behind that, but I do feel that's something that can hold you back. If you want to really be that top dog, like it takes that killer instinct that I came into the league seeing him having, hyping up his games against the Texans. Every game taking it personally, every game something to play for. So that drive doesn't seem like he has it right now. So I don't know where that is. I feel like it holds him back. So that's why I've got him at 3.
All right. Number 2 in the NFC. This is where I've got you. A kind of unimpressive win against the lowly Jaguars team. So
Mediocre at best.
honestly, it would have been number 1 if not for obviously the team that's missing from this list is QP. Right now, he's undefeated and he's looking pretty good. I think that's going to be the NFC Championship right now. Is going to be you and QP. Couple early losses to you. Dropped you to the number 2 spot because if you were both tied at undefeated, it would probably be you. But I think
Mike loss is going to dog me all season long.
yeah, that one's gonna hurt.
Yep.
And I'm sure you'll hear about it multiple times this season as we go through
Already
it.
have.
Yeah. So I've got you at number 2.
Yep. Number 2 for me. I have Paulie in the Finns. He's undefeated. He's taken names in the NFC West, which is regarded as probably the most talented division in the league. And this dude still doesn't seem to believe that he has a decent team or that he's a decent player. Every game it's, oh, I hope I can keep it close. I hope that I can end the season 500. You better end the season 500, Paulie, at this point. So I don't know what it is with the attitudes, but that's why I've got him sitting at 2 instead of that top spot.
All right, and then number 1 in the NFC, I've got Washington and QP. Like we said, he's playing really well right now. He beat Rowan. He beat Grams. So if people are saying Grams is back, Washington had no problem with him. And he beat, what was it, Demuse, I think, as well. So he's looking pretty good. We already multiple times since he's been in the league. We've talked about him as one of the top teams in the NFC, and now he's gotten rid of that second half collapse that he had for a while there, and he's finishing games, which makes his team even more scary.
Yeah, he's been a force. You can't argue with him at number one. It's well deserved, and he's going to be a tough team to knock off. Number one for me, I have you. Even despite the loss to Prime, loss to me, that your roster is still stacked. Superstars up and down the lineup. You have impressive wins elsewhere. The team is good. Even against me, I mean, you had a chance to tie. If you kick the field goal,
don't remind me.
You kick the field goal in the end, that could be a whole different game. You get the ball to start at OT. We could be talking about this as a win instead of a loss. So I don't think that game was indicative. I think you're still the top dog in the AFC right now, and I don't know, might be your season. I'm not going to make any proclamations because Foz curse.
Yeah, I appreciate you not making any predictions.
It might, maybe, possibly, potentially, be your chance.
Well, we'll see. I do come out of the bye week with the Patriots, so another tough game, and then I'll get a shot at Pauly and another one at Prime later in the season, and then really, I'm not even worried about the two losses because that's par for the course. If you look at the two, or not two, what are we on? This is the fifth season now. So the 4 seasons prior, I have 5 losses, 4 losses, 3 losses. That's every season, lose a decent number of games. So we'll see how it goes.
And as the top dog in the AFC, a loss to an NFC team is mostly irrelevant at the end of the day.
That's true.
Especially now that you don't have any teams going undefeated, assuming that you beat Pauly.
Yeah.
You're not going to have that undefeated team that one loss knocks you off. So.
Yep. All right, so we touched on it a little bit earlier, but we'll bring back our burning thoughts. And you brought up that both Prime and Pauly kind of, I don't know, downplaying themselves, giving themselves an excuse for when they lose. Just this, I'm washed. I'm lucky to be in it. What do you think the point of that is?
I can't figure it out with Prime, especially because, like I said, this is my first cycle in the SML. I was in Primer at the very tail end of last cycle. And even just from joining Primer and then from coming here, like you never saw Prime not amping himself. So I can't figure out what his angle is. I don't know if he's trying the Pauly thing. And he's trying to lull people to sleep. I don't know if it's that, but I can't figure out Prime. With Pauly, it seems to be setting excuses in line for, the potential of a loss. He knows he's playing good players. There's a lot of good players in the SML. There's not many games here that you lose and it's like, wow, like I feel really bad about that loss. Like there's a lot of good players in this league. I feel like Pauly sometimes sets his excuses before he plays that way. When he loses, if he loses, it's not as much of a letdown. I saw it in this last playoff. He's talking about, my head hurts. I can't see straight. I'm drugged up. I'm high. I have no shot at winning this game, but I'm going to play tonight because it's better for the league. Take the 12 hours, man. Play the next day. Like we got advanced times for a reason. You don't have to rush through it. And it didn't feel like, this is best for the league. It felt like I'm giving myself a chance to fail in a way. So that seems to be the Pauly thing. I don't think Prime's on that level. So it's interesting to watch. I can't quite figure it out. For me, you go into every game thinking you got a chance to win. For the NFC's taken a lot of slander, a lot of criticism. But one thing the NFC has is spunk. Rowan thinks he's going to win every game. Dump thinks he's going to win every game. He thinks he's going to pass the ball on everybody with Jalen Hurts. It's a little foolish, but he thinks that. So there's no lack of confidence.
Oh shit!
Dynamics.
Nope, I lost you for a second.
NFC in that.
No, you're back. Yeah, and we talk about early on. Oh, the NFC's boring. Prime and Pauly being two of the top teams in the AFC, talking about, I'm not that good. I'm washed. I'm lucky to be here. I think it makes the AFC more boring. I like the fire and the trash talk and teams going after each other in chat, because if you start playing that whole I'm lucky to be here. I'm washed. That's no different than the NFC just not talking trash at all and kind of being quiet over there and boring. So I think to me it makes it more boring. And I know Prime's probably trying to set himself up for the whole storyline of, oh, he's back, and because he's sitting at 5-1. I don't know where you think you're washed at 5-1. It's the same record you had, every season this cycle. Nothing's changed. So I don't really know the point of it. It's kind of dumb to me.
For Prime, it definitely feels like, drumming up the storyline, the Ben Roethlisberger, oh, this is a really bad injury, I'm going to play through it. And it's like, Ben, like we all know you're fine.
Yeah.
He's due for that once a season.
I mean, it's kind of funny because everything is, oh, this is prime time, 0-0-0, the GOAT, 16-time champ.
16-time GOAT, baby. Let's go.
Michael Jordan is probably like 50-something years old right now. And he would still walk into the court, where he's a part owner, but he'll walk onto the court with the players, and I doubt you would ever hear him say he's old, washed, or can't keep up. He would 100% believe he could play with those guys and would beat them. You don't see Tom Brady talking about, oh, I hope I win a game. If you're the GOAT, you go out there and until they carry you off the field, you believe you're the best person out there. So it's kind of disappointing to see that from two teams that are clearly at the top of the AFC, acting like I don't know. It's just
you don't have to be dookie about it. You don't have to walk in here, whatever that was. We don't need that, but there's definitely a difference, and a nice in between area where it's like, you believe you can win every game. You're probably not going to win every game. That's just not how this works. In a league with talent. But you go into every game expecting to win. I'm surprised to see it kind of take the way that it has been. With just a lot of passive attitudes.
Yeah, it's disappointing. Very, very disappointing to see, but it is what it is, and I'm sure he'll win a game, and maybe he'll win a playoff game, and then try to spin it as I'm back, whatever, rejuvenated, whatever.
What's going to be really funny is if he drops the act, either of them, him or Paulie, and they go out and lose their next game.
Yeah.
Maybe then there's something to it. So if that happens, retract all this.
Yeah, it just takes away from, I think, the excitement of the AFC was, we have the good teams at the top, they're playing and kind of going back and forth, and now it's, oh, I'm just happy to be here. Okay. Yep. So
drum your guys up, Bomber. I did it with the NFC. It's your turn for the AFC.
Yeah. We'll see if anything changes. I don't know. But that's our burning thoughts for this week. Just wondering what's going on there. And hopefully it kind of turns around. But that's going to do it, I think, for this week's show. And we're going to be at just under an hour. We're at 53 minutes. So
consistency,
definitely consistent. We didn't even add any extra stuff to try and catch up some time, but hopefully next week we can have our first guest on. We haven't had a guest on this season, whether it's just because we've kind of last minute thrown these together. Didn't really have them scheduled, but so that's it for this week's show, unless you got anything else.
I don't. It was a good show. I'm excited. Hopefully we see a little more fire in the AFC. Best luck to everybody as we go into another week of SML action.
All right. Till next week, this has been Heat Check.
And see you on First and Goal.
Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check, heat. Can I get a heat check, 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 heat check. Let me get a heat check, heat check, heat check, heat check.